As designers, we always need to provide a clear path for our readers and viewers. To attract and command their attention, we need to make it easy for them to see where to start and what to look at, what to read first, second, third, and so on. What we're talking about is hierarchy. This hierarchy, or levels of importance, can be indicated using a number of typographic principles. We've already covered these in other videos, and so you already know some good ways to indicate hierarchy in your projects just using typography. Now I'm going to show you how to use typographic grid structures so that they can be applied to create your own hierarchy. In these three examples of a magazine format for department pages, there is a clear indication of hierarchy for the reader. It starts with the super bold banner of the numbers stretching fully across the top, which is also the primary position. Because it occupies the full width of a grid, it becomes the visual priority. Next, the bold black caps of the headline also sit within a space that occupies the full width of the grid. But the headline is secondary by both position and size. Third in visual importance are the bold italics pull quotes, which are significantly larger than the body copy, occupying 2/3 of the width of the grid. Even though they are at the bottom, they are higher up in the hierarchy by the width of the grid space they occupy and their size and their weight. Next, the reader enters in each of the stories directly under the headlines where the deck is lightweight, but still a larger point size than the body copy. In the middle example, the deck goes across 2 grid modules. And last but not least, the body copy is contained within either a 3 or a 4 column grid. There's a more complex examples of how hierarchy can be indicated by using a grid. There's an unequal 3 column grid, and one element occupies 2 of the 3 columns. There is an extra sense of structure within the column rules and horizontal rules. There are grids within grids. On the right, we see an infographic built in modules. These structures make visual sense out of complex materials. A strong, flexible grid can guide the reader through a long project like a book. Here's a great example of how a grid can indicate hierarchy in a book containing a page after page of complex materials. This book from Sports Illustrated starts with a grid right on its cover. The concept is to look at the numbers players wear from every team and sport and to decide who wore it best. Throughout the entire book, the underlined grid looks like this. Here are a couple of examples of variations of the grid used throughout the book. The text always starts under the big number, and the winner of each number is always the largest image. That's how the grid hierarchy works. If every spread were the same format, it would be repetitive and boring. It's the variations that make it visually exciting. The flexibility of the grid allows the designer to create interesting pacing from beginning to end. Grids can be a great help to you and the reader, whether on screen or in print, depending on the size and position of these containers for your content. You can show your reader how to understand the relative importance of the material visually before they ever read a single word.